Sci-fi, horror, fantasy, absurdism in the extreme. It's all available here in the Tales from the Omni Vault book series. Check the description for Amazon links so you can get your copies and start reading today. Thank you all, and now, on to the video.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am the Omni Viewer, and if my voice sounds a bit off, it's because I think I'm fighting a cold. Have been since I got back from G-Fest. Don't worry, I'm feeling much better than I was just the other day. Good enough to at least report on this next bit of Godzilla news that was totally unexpected. Now, you've probably seen a lot of reports that the comic book industry in America isn't doing so hot. And in those reports, IDW in particular tends to get singled out as being so bad it might actually be on death's door. But if you're a Godzilla fan, you would never guess it because they keep announcing new Godzilla titles. And this latest one is a real doozy. It's called Godzilla Monsterpiece Theater. Now, it's one of those outside-the-box kind of ideas that IDW's been doing pretty much from the beginning. You know, like with Gangsters and Goliaths, they did What If a Hard-Boiled Detective Story had the kaiju show up? Or Here There Be Dragons is Godzilla mashed up with pirates, or Godzilla in Hell is having Godzilla go through a literally metaphysical plane. Things like that. But Monsterpiece Theater, well, it's apparently going to officially cross Godzilla over with classical literary works, the first issue of which will be Godzilla in the Great Gatsby. Yes, the great American novel is getting a Godzilla crossover. In fact, this variant cover for the first issue that clearly references the first issue of Fantastic Four, you know, that cover's been satirized and homaged into oblivion by this point. But it's also hinting at future crossovers that will happen in other issues, including such characters as Sherlock Holmes, the time traveler from H.G. Wells' The Time Machine, and Count Dracula. So, this is gonna be pretty interesting. According to the reports, each issue is going to be 40 pages long, which is pretty hefty for your average comic book. I mean, you go into a comic book store, the comic books are like this thin. Not that that's not enough room to tell a complete story if you wanted to, but it's also not that many pages. But 40 pages an issue, that's a lot, which I guess is appropriate considering that we're talking about classic literature here. So, you know, it's certainly an unexpected idea. I really have no idea how it's going to play out. I don't know if this is going to be one of those things where you have to be familiar with the original stories in order to understand them, or if they're going to try to make them as accessible as possible, so whether you've read the originals or not, you're at least going to be on the same page, so to speak. But it's certainly something I did not expect, and that's the big thing, I guess. Unfortunately, at this point, there's no official release date. Not in the original article, not in the official announcements. Nowhere is a release date for the first issue mentioned. I've seen a couple people speculating it might be in the fall, but I don't see any reason to think, well, like I said, I have no idea. So we'll just have to keep our eyes open for that. But either way, Godzilla Monsterpiece Theater is on the way, and it just might be the most unusual Godzilla comic ever. Or at least the most unexpected idea. But we will see. Place your bets now on what happens when Godzilla goes up against Dracula. But until such time as that happens, this is the Omni Viewer signing off.